Okay, thank you, everybody. I declare the meeting open at 7:01 p.m. and thank you for attending the Assets and Infrastructure Committee of Georges River Council. I would like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, water and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who live, work and meet on these lands. I have not received any apologies tonight, but we've received two requests from Councillor Almere and Councillor Stratakopoulos to join the meeting via audio visual link. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please, for that request?
Second that, Madam Chair.
Councillor Kanjarski. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I declare that carried. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and also is being webcast live on Council's website. In accordance with Section 5 of Council Code of Meeting Practice, this recording will be made available on Council's website. Code of Meeting Practice. The order of business is as shown in the agenda, which has been made available. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is open. Doors to the meeting room are to be left open unless the meeting moves into a closed confidential session, according to Section 14 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Only if the meeting moves into a closed confidential session will the public broadcasting of the meeting be suspended. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of Council, and mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting. Is there any disclosures of interest? We haven't received any so far. No? Okay. There are no public...
Sorry, Madam Chair, I do have a disclosure of interest on the confidential item.
Okay, all right.
My son plays for St George City and they are the operators of the canteen, of which we're discussing.
Okay, so it's what type of...
non-pecuniary, non-significant.
And you'll submit that electronically?
I will do.
Councillor Kanjarski?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we go to the first item on the agenda today. That's ASS 012-23, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting held on the 8th of May 2023. I move that the minutes of the Assets and Infrastructure meeting be adopted. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Smedley and Councillor Lewis, seconder. Did anyone want to discuss anything from those minutes? No? Okay, all those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? I declare it carried. We go to the next item, which is the report of the Georges River Local Traffic Committee Advisory Committee meeting held on the 6th of June. Can we have a mover and a seconder?
Madam Chair.
Councillor Kanjarski and the seconder? Councillor Liu. Did anyone want to ask questions or discuss any items? Right. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? I declare it carried. We go to the next item, which is ASS 014-23, Hogman Park Basketball Court lighting. Can we have a mover and seconder, please?
Move that, Madam Chair.
Move Councillor Kanjarski, seconder Councillor Liu. Does anyone have any questions or would like to discuss anything? No. I'd actually like to ask the manager of placemaking, if Hayley, you can just give a little bit of brief overview of why Council's recommendation is not to proceed at the moment.
Yeah, no worries. Through you, Madam Chair. So the recommendation is to not proceed in the 23-24 financial year due to the feedback received from residents during the consultation period. A lot of the feedback was reflective of the feedback we received a couple of years ago when we put up the same proposal from the council to the residents. And a lot of it is to do with the noise that would happen after hours if the court was to be lighted. So that the feedback is really consistent with what we received the last time we did go out to the community.
Okay. And through you, Madam Chair, Hayley, were they all new submissions and none from the...
There were some new submissions, but they were mainly resubmissions from the last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And there was a petition last time.
There was a petition and that was resubmitted as well.
Yeah. Okay, so then any other questions? Okay,
So there is lighting there currently,
There's lighting in the park,
yes.
not directly on the basketball court.
They'll remain, we're not having additional lighting.
No, there's no additional lighting
you.
being
That's all.
proposed from this proposal. The master plan does point to additional light
Yeah.
on the basketball court to extend its use. But yeah, the feedback from the residents surrounding was that they didn't want that to occur at this stage.
Additional lighting,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, I'll put it, all those in favour say aye.
Or
All those against? I declare it carried. We go to the next item, which is ASS 01523, installation of bike repair stations at strategic locations. Can we have a mover and seconder, please?
I'll move that.
Move, that's councillor Mort, seconded councillor Lou. Would anyone like to ask any questions or discuss a matter?
Got a couple of questions through you, Madam Chair. How did, I noticed it's come up as Gannon's Park is the preferred location. How did we get to the decision that it would be Gannon's Park over any other location?
So the reason why the opposite recommendation is Gannon's Park is because it's actually got its own cycle network within that particular park asset at the moment. And there was a smaller bicycle repair station, like a pump, and an existing concrete pad with some other bike infrastructure, like where you could put your bike racks and everything. So it was a good location in terms of not adding any more concrete to a particular site. The other reason and biggest driving force is that we've been quite successful in some grants to pursue the active transport initiatives, and a lot of those that encompass that recreational route all take in Gannon's Park. So there is no recreational link that wouldn't support Gannon's Park in the future. So it's just a good place to start. Yeah, but it's definitely something that we would recommend that as we build that recreational cycle network, that we look at other locations to place.
Because I think it's important to, like, the active transport network really get, other locations are really looked at, like, because Oatley to Como is major thoroughfare, so places such as that in Carrick Park.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the report says that as a potential future location would be that Oatley to Como, but we would do that in conjunction with working with Transport for a future upgrade for that site.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Hayley.
That's right.
Thank you.
plus Peakhurst Ward's the best ward.
Number one.
I think the whole of the LGA is the best.
And there'll be a holistic approach when you do that active transport plan.
Yeah, definitely. So the grant that we got from Transport for New South Wales was to do the concept and the detailed design of the active transport recreational route, which is the connection that's that 1 to 5 years within the integrated transport strategy. And what that will do, if we can pick up key locations and key assets within that plan, such as our sports fields, such as our schools, it should also ease congestion as well if you do it in the right way. So having these bicycle repair stations strategically located actually help people make a decision to use active transport rather than the cars. And we know that Gannon's is a massive issue when it comes to congestion on the weekends and even training purposes. So, you know, it's a good place to start.
Good. Thanks, Hayley. Thanks for all your hard work.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put that. So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against? I declare it carried. No, at this stage of the meeting, the time being 7:09 p.m, I hereby advise that the meeting will move into a committee of the whole to allow consideration of a matter in closed session in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993. Accordingly, members of the press and public are excluded from the closed session, and access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session will be withheld. This action is being taken to allow discussion of ASS 0226A-23 Canteen Management Agreement, Penshurst Park Extension Option. Okay, so accordingly, members of the press and public excluded from the closed session, and so it's a repeat, so I'll just rewind. With this meeting being held remotely, we're able to ask if we're unable to ask if any objections from the audience. Well, we can ask, there's no audience, so we'll forget that. And we have had no written representations from the public.
No, that's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, so a procedural motion will need to be moved. That in accordance with Section 10A, Clause 2 of the Local Government Act 1993, council enter into closed session to discuss the matters previously read aloud to the meeting. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Move councillor Lou, seconded councillor Shakara. Okay, all those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? I declare that carried. So we'll just wait for the live stream to end. One. Okay, can we display any recommendations of the committee of the whole, please? Okay, recommendation.
That's it there.
Yeah. And can I have a motion that the committee of the whole recommendations for the items considered in closed session be confirmed as recommendations of this committee? So I have a mover and
I'll
second.
move that, Madam Chair.
Move councillor Konjalski, seconded councillor Wu. All those in favour? All those against? I declare it carried. There being no further business on the agenda, I declare the meeting closed at 7.